I can't talk about My Own Private Idaho without talking about River. Extraordinary person, extraordinary, original, great heart, great mind, great spirit.
We touched down on the astral plane with a starstruck boy and promised like a ball and chain. Tired and weary and a little forlorn, I was hoping to find myself reborn. And something was lost and gained. Nothing so easily explained.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing today? Here I am in Hollywood, California, right on Sunset and Larrabee. Very, very busy area, but it is a holiday right now, so not a lot of traffic, which is rare, very rare. Now we're going to be talking about the Viper Room, which is that building right there, and River Phoenix. I want to show you something else though. Give you an indication of where we are. We're just kind of what's in the area. And let me just show you this first. Now for myself, as someone who loves the 90s, loves that decade, I thought I'd show you the front of this building, which used to be a hotel. And right there in the entranceway, that was in a very famous scene from Beverly Hills 90210 with Brendan and Dylan. This was the hotel that Dylan lived in the first couple of seasons, I guess it was, of Beverly Hills 90210. My point to show this, besides the fact I'm a huge 90210 fan and anything from the 90s, is there's Hollywood history all around. You know, there's just something to see almost on every corner. All of these storefronts here, or the back of the stores, I'm going to show you the fronts. It is true, they're going to be torn down at some point. And I think it's going to be a 12-story mid-rise building, I guess they call it, that's going to be built right here on this lot. And these are going to be gone. They're going to repurpose or rebrand the Viper Room into someplace on the bottom. So there will still be a club called the Viper Room, but it will not be the actual Viper Room. And that sucks. The thing about Hollywood, Los Angeles in general, they don't really, when it comes to historic locations, more modern historic ones, there's not a lot of, they don't keep them. They tear them down, and there's always new stuff going up. And somewhere as famous and infamous as the Viper Room, you'd think would have a long shelf life. But no, it's going to be gone very, very, very soon. Man, that sucks. I mean, people come to Hollywood and they'll go to the new Viper Room, but it won't be the same. So when I first came here to Hollywood years ago, aside from getting some pizza in Santa Monica, my friend and I, we drove right along Sunset from the airport up 405 to Sunset and along. And the first building I noticed or got excited to see, and I still remember it vividly, was this building. It was the Viper Room. As someone, like, not to beat a dead horse, but as someone who loves the 90s, seeing the Viper Room in person was crazy to me. It's gonna be loud a little bit, even though it's a holiday, it will be loud here on Sunset. But we'll get through this, and I'll talk louder. So yes, we're coming right along where this car is right now. And I looked up and I saw that sign. And wow. Wow. Right beside Turner's Liquor, famous. In the opening credits of Entourage, look right across there. I was just there recently. Whiskey A Go-Go. The Rainbow Bar and Grill. The Rainbow. I called it Rainbow Room on my last video I did about whiskey. I know the difference. It's just a slip of the tongue. The Roxy's up there. Famous shot of Bruce Springsteen right around here. Tower Records around the corner. Or the old Tower Records. The Standard Hotel where I first stayed. Just around the corner. Johnny Depp's house across the street. His castle. Where I went into the driveway to take a picture and security guard came out of nowhere. And that was way before YouTube. And I'm still kind of doing those things. So I started a video about River Phoenix and the Viper Room probably 4 years ago. I started making one here. And I think some of it was in the day, some of it was in the night. I'm going to put in footage from that. I can't remember. But you're going to see. And I just kind of shelved it. I'm not sure what, I was starting on YouTube. I wasn't sure what I was doing. And I don't know if I still do, if I do now. But I wanted it to be right. And I wanted to visit River's hometown, Gainesville, Micanopy, Florida, which I did, and I made a video there. Went to all of River's locations, like his house, some morbid locations having to do with River there, but some fun locations as well. And I did that one because River meant a lot to me. River Phoenix means a lot to a lot of people. I get that. The thing about River Phoenix is we had our favorite actors in the 90s. We all did. There's numerous ones. But River stood out. Not just because he was a heartthrob and, a very, very extremely talented actor. He was above everyone else. It was obvious.
River was a serious young artist even at 14. He already knew more than I did. He'd done it before, and we're doing this movie about kids building their own spaceship, and he's trying to talk about what's in his character's pockets, and you kind of knew right away that he was special.
But he had a reputation, and back in the 90s, there was no internet. 1993, 1992. So it was all just reading about actors and reading interviews, prints, and seeing them in interviews on TV. And River always came across as such a sweet, sweet soul.
Well, River, we've used up our time, but again, it's been very nice. Yeah, it's been very nice talking with you.
You stay out of this. We're talking some more. No. Okay.
When it starts recording on the spool, they get a little nervous. Anyway.
Any other questions? Any last minute
No.
And from everything we've read and heard about him since, we know that he really was. River starred in some of our favorite movies: Explorers, Stand By Me, Mosquito Coast, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, That Thing Called Love, A Night in the Life of Jimmy Reardon. River was beloved. And if River were alive today, I can guarantee you he would have at least 2 Oscars. I'm going to say 2. Maybe more. He was that talented. So October 30th, 1993, River came here with some friends. Samantha Mathis was in the group. I believe he was dating her at the time. And his younger brother, Joaquin, who we all know now. And they came to party at the... All right. Well, now you're getting to see some action. They're all yelling at the guy. The guy's like 75 years old driving his car. He's a little, Anyway. I am doing this in real time, as you're seeing. as I stopped the camera. So River was here in 1993 in LA. He lived in Florida, but he was here filming a movie called Dark Blood. I'm not sure if a lot of people know, but he was originally going to play the part in Interview with the Vampire that Christian Slater played. But River unfortunately passed away before he got to film that role. So right inside, I'm going to take you now, I'm going to show you a clip of me inside the Viper Room. A few years ago, my friend used to work the door. Unfortunately, due to time and, you know, not keeping a proper touch, I can't get a hold of her now. But she used to work the door, and the actual door that you go in when you go into the Viper Room is not the front doors that you see there, that underneath that canopy right there. It's that one right there. It's a very small door. We'll go closer to that as well. But I went inside, took some video. It's extremely loud. There was a band playing. It's about 2019, I think I did this video. I mean, it could have been 2021, I'm not sure. And of course the infamous bathroom inside. I didn't catch your name.
Oh, Rita. Oh, I'm Rita. Rita.
Thank you, Scott.
Nice to meet you, Scott.
Stephanie, thank you for letting me take a look around.
Anytime, Scott. Nice to see you.
Let's see. I will be back soon. I'm coming back
How
in.
long are you here for?
So that's that footage that I have of inside the Viper Room. It's a few minutes before 1 a.m. So we're talking Halloween morning. A lot of people think that he was there on Halloween night. It was the night before Halloween, October 30th, 1993. So he went in the bathroom and he was doing drugs. On stage was a band called P, which consisted of Johnny Depp and Gibby from the Butthole Surfers. They were playing on stage. They have a song called Michael Stipe, which is about the lead singer of R.E.M., which mentions River Phoenix in it. So those are the front doors, but the side doors is where you go in. River was in the bathroom. He snorted a high-grade Persian brown, heroin. As soon as he snorted it, he began trembling and shaking in front of the sink and vomited. Someone tried to help him by splashing water on his face. They tried to give him a Valium. Then he ran back into the bar that I just showed you, right off to the side of where the band was playing, to his friend Samantha Mathis and his sister Rain, who complained that he couldn't breathe, and then he passed out. When he came to, he asked Samantha to take him outside, so she called River's friend and assistant Abby, then Mathis and Joaquin Phoenix took him outside, and River collapsed on the sidewalk right here. He was in front of those that used to be some sort of doorway, and now it's sealed off completely, and just one other door. But it was in front of right there, where he collapsed. So he started having seizures. It was a wild scene from everything I've read, from all accounts, and I've read a lot about this case. There's a photographer nearby. I mean, paparazzi are crazy now, but back then, paparazzi knew there were certain places to hang out, to see celebrities and get photos of them, and Viper Room was high, if not number one, on the list. All of young Hollywood partied here. So there's a payphone here. Ron Davis made a call, so did Joaquin Phoenix. And the payphone was located up here, and up until a couple of years ago, it was still here. And I have footage of me showing you that payphone, and here it is here. I don't like filming at night with my camera phone, but I'm sorry if it's not that great of video. But yeah, right there. That same payphone is still here. And once when I was here, there's stuff written on it about River Phoenix, but I don't see anything right now. And sometimes scrawled out in front on the ground is "Rest in Peace, River," and things to that effect. I don't see anything today. And that's that footage of where the payphone used to be. So Rain Phoenix, his sister, threw herself on top of River, trying to control the seizures. It was about 8 minutes of seizures, and they stopped, and River was still. And that's when Joaquin Phoenix said he stopped breathing. He was not breathing at that point. At 1:14 a.m., the paramedics arrived, and he was in full cardiac arrest. They rushed him to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, which is a hospital, which is not the closest. I guess it's the closest hospital to here. Seems far to me. When they got there, his skin was blue, but his body was still warm. The ER physicians worked hard to revive him. They even installed a pacemaker, but he was pronounced dead at 1:51 a.m. The autopsy showed lethal levels of cocaine and morphine. Heroin shows up as morphine as the body metabolizes, so it was heroin. Valium in his system, marijuana, and ephedrine. Ephedrine was the main ingredient in crystal meth, but of course ephedrine is also it's in lots of different medications. And possibly he took it from a cold medication. That's we never known what the ephedrine in his body was from. So we all know, I think a lot of us know, the basic story about River Phoenix and how he passed away. And it was huge news. It was shocking. It was sad. He came into a nightclub. There was no alcohol in his system. He came into a club. He was young, early 20s. And he made a big mistake. Big. And it cost him his life. And I just say this before I go on. I've said it millions of times on other videos when it comes to people that have passed away from drug abuse, substance abuse. Let's not say, I hate the term another dead junkie, and people have written that before when I've done stuff about people. Think back to when you're in your early 20s, we've all done stupid things. Maybe not as crazy as snorting heroin and taking cocaine. Maybe not, but we've all done. I know I have. Maybe that's why I'm always saying this in each video I do, but I know I did some of the stupidest things ever, and I'm thankful that I'm here. And I think everybody's done something. Everybody's done some crazy stuff. Or just irresponsible, or just silly, and it could have changed the trajectory of your life or ended your life. Moving on from that, River Phoenix was beloved. I loved River Phoenix. When he passed away, my father walked over to the store that I was working at, just around the corner from my house, and told me my favorite actor had died. He'd seen it on the news. And I knew immediately who he meant. And I said, what? How? And he told me. I went home that night, watched the news. It was all we could do. And it was River Phoenix, dead. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. And to this day, where I'm standing, I consider hallowed ground. I consider this, it's everybody that drives by, tourists, there's tour buses that go by all the time. They point out Viper Room. And the first thing you think of when you hear Viper Room, you think of River Phoenix. Johnny Depp owned the club. Does he still own it? I'm going to tell you, they say that he doesn't own it anymore. He may own a bit of it still. Johnny Depp loved this club. So don't necessarily believe everything you read that he doesn't own it. Not completely. Still, downstairs is a little VIP area. That's where, you know, like, it's funny. When people went to clubs, celebrities go to clubs, they always go to the VIP areas. I was thinking about this before. Like, they go to the VIP areas and they want to be seen. Nowadays, there's always, like, you know, they got the champagne with the going off, whatever the hell, the sparklers and all that shit. And celebrities are seen in clubs. Back in the day, especially like 70s, 80s, and 90s, 70s, like at Studio 54, they'd go down into the what's it called, the room down below. I'm a big fan of Studio 54. Like where like the heating and the air conditioning is, down there. And VIPs would go down and sit on like little like fold-out chairs. And that was the VIP area, because it was away from the crowd. Same with kind of in here. It's a nicer area. There's a little booth set up in the VIP area downstairs. But that's where the VIPs would come. And back then they wanted to have it just themselves. Little away from everybody staring at them. Nowadays it's definitely a lot different. So I walk down here. Actually, I can tell you right now as I'm walking towards the entrance. Straight ahead, there's a tiny little coat check off to the side, and then straight ahead is the VIP area. From what I remember, I don't know if I have video of that, but from what I remember, it's straight ahead. And it's surprisingly big inside. So it's ironic, well, not ironic, it's just interesting that Johnny Depp's band P was playing on stage, and they have a song called Michael's Type, like I said, about the lead singer of R.E.M., who was very, very close to River Phoenix. Michael and River were very good friends. So P was on stage, and like I said, they have that song, mentions River Phoenix. How many other songs have mentioned River Phoenix, or about River Phoenix, or inspired by River Phoenix? There's Transcending by Red Hot Chili Peppers, Tiger Lily, Natalie Merchant. R.E.M.'s album Monster is dedicated to River. And Counting Crows. This is kind of a deep cut you may not know, but Adam Duritz, lead singer of Counting Crows, after their first album, August and Everything After he made it big, he was convinced to move down here to L.A. And he was hanging out with all the young Hollywood crowd, and he would bartend here just to kind of, you know, have fun. He was world famous at this point because of Mr. Jones, but he would be in here. But he was good friends with Stipe and Samantha Mathis. And Counting Crows have a song called A Long December. And in that song, he writes, drove up to Hillside Manor sometime after 2 a.m. to talk a little while about the year. Hillside Manor was Samantha Mathis' house. A Long December is about the grief River's friends experienced afterwards. So when you hear that song is actually about River Phoenix. At least that one part of the song definitely is. Drove up to Hillside Manor sometime after 2 a.m. and talked a little while about the year. It's been a long December. His friends were devastated, his family devastated, his fans devastated. And it's not weird. I've said this before in other videos. I don't think it's weird to grieve when a celebrity dies, especially if you're younger. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are, because you get attached to them because of their art, and that's what art is for. Art is supposed to make. I've said this recently on a video. Art is supposed to make you feel things, feel something. So if you feel connected to that piece of art, you're going to be connected to the artist. So when River Phoenix died, especially a lot of us from a certain generation, we felt like we lost a friend. And it's tragic. And it's sad. And it sucks. Because who knows what River Phoenix could have been doing still right now. There was a memorial out here for River when he passed. Flowers. Candles. Everywhere. And for years afterwards, they would close on October 30th and 31st. They wouldn't open on the anniversary of River's death. So a lot of people seem to like my, well, I don't know if you liked it, I hope you did, my Whiskey A Go-Go video, and said you're going to do more. This is one I had planned for so long. Look how close Whiskey is to the Viper Room. Right there. And a lot of people, I know that a lot of people can't get to Hollywood and California to see these locations, so I'm happy to do them and show them a little more in depth than anybody else would, and take you on these little tours. This is West Hollywood, and this is the famous Sunset Strip.
Said that, you know, for years you found it difficult to say your brother's name or to talk about it, and I, you know, I really identify. My mom and my sisters were the ones that really kept his memory alive, and kind of the willingness to talk about it. Rain has this beautiful lyric in her song.
In my mind, I still see your light. I keep it alive.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
I did a video, like I said, of all of River's locations in Gainesville and Micanopy, and I'm surprised I'm pronouncing that right, because it took me a long time to learn how to pronounce it when I was down there with my friend Brian, who showed me all around. Brian knows everything about River Phoenix. He's a great guy. He knows the Phoenix family, and he, so a wonderful person. And if you watch that video, you'll hear Brian with his thick Florida accent. He showed me all these locations having to do with River Phoenix that nobody else knew about. Well, some people did, but I mean, for what I was doing, for what I was doing YouTube. And I thank him still. That video got a huge reception. People knew I did it from here. I did it out of love, which is what I'm doing again today. And I was afraid to do this video in the sense that I didn't know if I would ever stop talking. Because I can talk, but I can talk a lot and a long time, especially about subjects that interest me or fascinate me. So yeah, I was always thinking, well, what more? There's so much I could talk about when it comes to River Phoenix. And I think I'm going to just say that we lost one of the greats. He was great at the time. He would have been greater. There's a 911 call that I talked about earlier, where you can hear Joaquin Phoenix. You can hear the pain, the anguish in his voice. I think it's disgusting that that's out there. Now, I'm going to places where celebrities passed away. Is that morbid and disgusting? Discuss amongst yourselves, possibly. But I think when it comes to 911 calls, they serve no public purpose. If it's a crime, if it's going to help, release them for something like that. When it comes to 911 calls that have that, it's not a crime, where it's, you know, somebody's life is in jeopardy. I think it's absolutely heinous that they're released. You're hearing somebody's worst moment, either their worst moment or they're talking about somebody's worst moment, and I simply have no respect for that being out there. I did hear it a long time ago, and I'll never forget it. I'll never forget. I can hear it. I can hear it. Joaquin's voice. He was young. He was in his teens when he made the call. I can still hear it. And I just don't understand why we need to hear those calls. Why they're released. Maybe, I mean, it's in the public's best interest, like I said, or maybe that's the law. I don't know. Doesn't make much sense to me. But okay. Rest in peace, River Phoenix. River. Maybe one day I'll drive up to Hillside Manor and find that house, Samantha Math's old house. Go watch Stand By Me. I love you all. Peace.